This is the time, this is the place, and this is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. And since everything is geeky, if you love it enough, you never know what you're going to get. This is your host, IMC. This week we are beginning our Halloween month with a look at the big three of cinematic monsters. We're starting with Dracula. After that, stick around for our upcoming events and our question of the week. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. I just want to go into the one
monster movie. Ha, ha, ha. Two monster movies. Ha, ha, ha. Three monster movies. We basically got the Halloween season.
I watched three monster movies yesterday.
One right after the other. So this week is Dracula. Next week we're doing which one? Frankenstein's next week? And then the week after that is the Wolfman.
The Wolfman.
Yes. The
Which
Wolfman.
I have a comment about the Wolfman.
He eats a flea collar?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Talk to my mom. Yeah.
Talk to your mom. Oh, I can only imagine if your mom is involved.
Yes.
I love you, Nana Robin. Anyway, so in the studio, everybody's on studio today. Nobody's on the phone?
Nope.
Nobody's on the phone?
I can call me.
You can call in.
Call Billy?
Yeah.
There's the legend, Billy DeTore. How you doing, Billy?
Good. How are you?
I'm having more fun than I conceivably know what to do with.
I'm glad one of us is.
He said he was discombobulated today.
I'm trying, yeah. I'm trying. And then, as always, my favorite co-host of all time, the only co-host I've actually ever had is...
No, didn't you have a co-host the day I was out?
Sort of.
You had Ray.
I had Ray.
You had Ray and Ian that day.
I really can't bounce thoughts off of Ray like I do with you, because Ray's going to turn everything to Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
because you had to run your job and my job that day.
Yes, because I was doing the research and the reading of the
Because
scripts
I wasn't
and
in the
everything.
studio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Neither was I.
So, I can go, Ray, so Jurassic Park is going to be coming out with a sequel this week. Yeah, and the Red Ranger's going to be... I'm like, I'm going to smack that boy silly one of these. I'm going to smack the beard right off his face one of these days. I swear to God.
We love Ray.
Yes, we do. Sort of. Anyway.
But yes, I'm here.
No. And
No,
so
I'm
Tanya's
fighting a
here,
little-
Billy's here, and so is also the Monkey Girl is here. Let's see. Sherry's giving me a dirty look at the monkey.
I am not giving you a dirty
I'm
look.
saving the best for last.
Oh, yeah.
See, there
Right.
it is. Monkey Girl's here. Hi, honey. How you doing?
I'm good.
Are we having fun yet?
Yes.
Yes, and we've got cider and donuts in the house today.
And she just ordered her monkey gear.
And she did. What'd you get?
Got a hoodie.
Good getting a hoodie? Okay. Because we're going to be talking about that shortly, too. So, and last but certainly not least is the beloved producer, Sherry. Hi, producer Sherry.
Hello.
How are you?
I have cider and donuts.
Yes, seriously.
Yeah, there's
You
donuts
can't
back
go
there.
wrong with that right now. I mean, this is the season for that.
Homemade apple cider donuts and apple squeeze from the Clinton Cider Mill in Clinton, New York.
Yay.
Free advertising there.
And they did not pay me to say that.
And anybody out there who thinks this is pumpkin spice season, I'm sorry,
No,
but
it's
you're
apple-
slightly mistaken. No, wait a minute. You're just wrong.
I can't stand pumpkin.
I can't do it. Pumpkins are fun to
I like
carve and paint
pumpkin
and stuff like that.
delights.
That's a bit, huh?
I like pumpkin delights. They're a little Debbie thing that I've had since I was little, and they only come out this time of year, and I love them.
They were the original pumpkin spice.
So,
this
so
is
you
so
buy
good.
them, freeze them, and then bring them out every so often.
Do you
They
think
don't
that's
last that long.
They don't.
If they
It's not
reboot
like a
the Spice
Twinkie?
Girls, is that going to be one of them?
Pumpkin spice?
You got Sporty Spice, Scary Spice, Posh, and Pumpkin? Is that a thing?
There's dead air.
Apparently that's the only way to treat Chris when he's off on one of his tangents.
just tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
I want to go
I
take
want
a
to get
nap.
through this podcast without getting killed.
Good luck.
You have to restart it then.
Yeah, I know. So I spent the entire day yesterday working around the house, outside and in, and I was having just so much fun. I was adulting, and I was entertained by it. It was amazing. I got to the end of the day, and I don't drink beer anymore, but I drink hard ciders and mead and things like that. So I pop open a cider, and I'm watching the Doctor Who marathon on BBC America because in very short order,
The new
Jodie
season.
Whittaker is coming out, and I am so looking forward to this now. It's amazing, and it's
She's
fun.
squealing.
She did. Little Monk squealed. But for me, it's kind of like a full circle kind of a thing because I know in the past I've gone on record that I didn't want to see a female doctor because I was always concerned that it would be just kind of like a token thing that they were doing to placate a certain vocal fandom. That I didn't think it was. I thought it was going to be a gimmick. And the more I've seen this woman in action, the more I've seen some of the things that she's done in the past, other parts she's played, and then I see the interviews that she's been doing. I'm like, yeah, I am. She's the doctor. I'm in. I'm all in, and I'm looking forward to October 7th.
I was watching a video on Facebook the other day where Doctor Who fans were weighing in on Jodie Whittaker as the new Doctor, and she was in a little room behind them listening, and then she kept coming out and surprising all of them.
I love how they do that these days.
I've
been seeing that when the celebrity pops up out of the blue. That's awesome.
Yeah. And that David Tennant actually knew that Jodie Whittaker was the Doctor before other people knew, because the producer had called him and said, well, the next person that's going to call you is the Doctor, because the Doctor wants to call you.
Isn't the story goes that his mother called him next?
No, the joke was, because he was on the Graham Norton show and said, oh, what would happen if your mom called you? Mom, I didn't know you were up for this part, was the joke that he was saying. But then the name Jodie popped up on his phone, and since they are friends from Broadchurch and things like that, then he was like, yeah, I got this. This is exciting.
This is good. So. This is cool. So I'm very much looking forward to it. There is a trailer out where it shows her in action with her 3 companions. She's got quite the team together. I'm looking at the...
Is it a new Power Rangers team?
No, it's not a new Power Rangers team. No,
how many Power Rangers references can we make during this podcast?
Hopefully as few as possible. So... Hopefully, they'll start dwindling as we actually start talking about real things.
I mean,
what? Sorry, Ray.
And Susan and I just started rewatching the Christopher Eccleston this past week, so I expect to be on the Jodie Whittaker episodes sometime after. Exactly.
BBC America is doing a marathon right now, and of course they're showing the seasons in completion. So they're showing they're showing Dr. 10. David Tennant in Series 1, they show the whole thing, but then they're bouncing around to different series after that.
No!
It's so bizarre. They'll show Series 3, then they show Series 1.
That would break my head.
Oh, it's just...
Because you want it to be sequential, what comes next. And
but the BBC is doing it intentionally to be entertaining.
Yeah, they're not entertaining you.
They're entertaining themselves.
Yes, that's it.
How many people can write email complaints to the BBC going, listen, we were trying to record this.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, so like I was saying, I adulted all day yesterday, and I cleaned out my garage of all of my predecessors' stuff.
You had a minor break with you watched Frankenstein.
I did.
We
watched Frankenstein for next week's podcast. And then what else did I do? I started trimming hedges and just painting rooms and stuff. I was full on adult yesterday. It was amazing. And then
that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, no, really, it doesn't. Not in my case.
I was the laziest human being you'll ever meet yesterday.
See, so
we should have stopped by. Because we came down Ridge Road. We should have stopped by. I'm like, oh, Billy lives down there, to get those videos.
Yeah, because I do have them all on DVD, but yesterday...
We said Billy was going to be in his glory.
Yeah, yesterday was the final game of New York Mets third baseman David Wright.
Yeah, I saw
maybe the best Mets player ever.
Did he retire?
He retired. He'd been trying to come back from spinal stenosis for the last couple of years. And just wasn't working, but he'd worked his way enough to where he was going to play one final game. That was last night.
So and they made a big deal about it.
SNY, the station in New York that carries all the Mets games, showed his best games and highlights and documentaries for from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. when the pregame for the show pregame for the actual game started. Then the game, which went 13 innings, by the way, and then a post-game thing with a video tribute and interview and all that. So
this finished right before Saturday Night Live last night for you?
The on-field interview ended just as Saturday Night Live was starting.
So you had a long day.
Yeah. And then I watched some Saturday Night Live, which is god-awful. Oh, God.
Has it been good since the original cast left?
Every now and then they do something so funny I can't even stand it.
Adam Driver was the host last night.
Oh.
Okay.
And the comedy stuff was okay. It had its moments like it always does. But Kanye West's performance was the stupidest thing.
Did you say something about water bottles?
Even if the show is fantastic, it would have been the worst episode ever because of Kanye West.
Oh, I can't stand him.
You know what I want you to do is I want you to go back to the first observation you made, and instead of saying performance, just say Kanye West's stupidest thing ever.
Him and his sidekick or whoever were literally dressed in water bottle costumes, singing a song that it's just way past my, it's for young people, and I'm old, so it made me grumpy.
He joked that he was going to play that song this morning on his radio show, but he didn't. He went on to something else.
No.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hey, did you see Kanye's a genius last night? No, I'm just kidding.
That's exactly what it was. I was actually listening during that
There's
time.
blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. If Kanye West is legitimately a genius, then I'm Japanese. That's all I'm saying. I'm actually a 6'5" Japanese man. It's just I can't. I don't get him. I really don't. No, I don't want to. But anyway, moving
So
on.
I was very lazy yesterday. That was the point of that.
But that was a good laziness.
Yeah,
though.
seriously.
Yeah.
So how long did Wright play for?
He came up in 2004.
Okay.
And retired last night.
Okay, so it's a good 14
and he's
years.
like number one all time in Mets for hits and for doubles and batting average. Like he's got a lot of Met records.
Nice.
So.
All right, well, good for him. Hope
So that's
he's...
Billy's geekiness, other than comic books.
Yes. That's one of my many geekiness. So I
Everything's geeky if you
cried.
You love it
and
enough, absolutely.
I laughed and cried and all kinds of things.
Your cat snuggling with you during this time?
the one that didn't jump out the window over the last
Oh, dear.
weekend.
Which one?
Oliver.
Oliver took off.
He
Oliver and Company. He's going to go hang out with
Okay,
you.
I'm sorry to make this longer.
That's all right.
But I think it was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. I get home and I go upstairs, do some stuff. Susan's downstairs. I'm reading. I watch TV. I took a nap. And I wake up and I go downstairs. And during the course of all this upstairs, cats have wandered in and out because we have 4 of them.
Right.
And I go downstairs and there's 3 of the cats. And I go, honey, have you seen Oliver? I haven't seen him since I've been home. And she goes, no. And we look around for him, don't see him anywhere, look down the basement. He's been dying to go outside for some reason. Don't know why.
Well, you got him as a stray, didn't you?
Yeah. But
Okay.
he seems happy inside with us. But anytime there's an opportunity, he tries to
squirrel.
run out or whatever. So I go upstairs. I'm looking under the bed. Then I notice we'd had our bedroom window open with a screen.
Uh-huh.
But the screen had a little hole. Well, now there's a huge hole
Oh,
in it.
jeez.
And he literally jumped out of the second floor bedroom window to get out. And
boy.
So we go outside, make sure he's not squashed on the ground or whatever. But he was in the bushes. He was scared because there was our next door neighbor has a dog and there's kids. So he got out and then he got scared. And he's hiding in the bushes and under the house. And he saw us and then he ran around to the backyard and hid under our deck. And we eventually got him out with treats and stuff. But he jumped out of a second floor window.
For some reason, they always land on their feet.
But he seemed fine. I even checked him for a limp, and he's fine. But
He probably saw a squirrel or a bird or something going, ooh.
Cats are amazing creatures.
Yes, they are.
it makes me sad.
Cats are
he didn't
nature's
want
way
to
of
stay
saying not
inside
everything
with
in
us.
life has a purpose.
He was curious.
Yeah.
Curiosity killed the cat.
see.
But anyway, did you mention that whenever cats fall, they land on their feet?
Usually.
That's the key to anti-gravity. Did you not know that?
Yeah.
Okay, cats are half of the equation. The other half is buttered
Buttered
toast
bread.
that always falls butter side down.
Oh, is
So
that
you
what it
strap
is?
buttered toast to the back of a cat and you throw it at the ground and see, it starts spinning because they fight to see which one lands.
An old joke. Such
It is,
an old
but it's a
joke.
classic. It's great.
Well,
And I think there's some scientific fact in it.
Yeah, I tried that once when I was in high school. Never mind.
with buttered toast and a cat.
Yeah, it was bitch getting the toast tied to the cat. But there you have it.
Usually, if they put a collar or something around the cat's necks, or they're like
Actually,
they fall over.
It's a better one. It's a bitch trying to get the cat in the toaster.
On that note, can we go to
Are we
take a break?
Are we going to take a
Let's
break?
take a break.
Yeah, we're
On
going to take
that
a break.
note, we need to
Talking
take a break.
about
We're going
a
to take
cat
a break,
and a toaster.
and when we come back, we're going to be talking about dogs and microwaves. I guess I don't know. We'll move on.
No, we won't be.
Happy Halloween. Alana loves me. That's all that matters.
Just wow. Just wow.
And so here we are.
Music.
We got to go to the. Are we going to do spooky
No.
music? No, we don't need this.
Oh, I was going to I got it right here.
I have to try and figure out if I can say this in Bela Lugosi's voice. Through vampire lore. No, I can't do it.
It was pretty good.
The vampire lore comes. Well, see, no, the thing is, I wouldn't be able to keep it up without laughing. Comes in many guises and in many parts of the world. Much of our modern concept of the vampire comes from an Irish author and theater manager named Bram Stoker. I was about to say Stroker.
I wrote it 3
That's
times.
an entirely different movie.
That's the porn version.
Yeah, that's it. An Irish author and theater manager named Bram Stoker, who in 1897 released one of the Gothic horror genre's most important novels, Dracula. Spoilers. Stoker's novel took inspiration from other vampire fiction, likely including The Vampires from 1819 by Jean Polidori and Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu's Carmilla from 1872, in which the main character is a vampire who lusts after her friend Laura. Ooh. Stoker took the name and pieces of his vampire's origin story from a Romanian ruler, Vlad III Dracula. From the earliest days of silent film, Dracula has fascinated moviegoers and continues to influence horror movie films to this day. And I want to point out real quick, this is important. This is the most important thing we're going to talk about. Vampires do not sparkle.
Exactly. They'll be staked.
Okay. But we're not talking vampires in general. We're talking about Dracula.
Yes, the man himself.
Yes.
The one that started it all.
Exactly. He did. This movie came out when?
The one that we watched, I watched yesterday morning was 31.
Was 1931?
Yep. There were a couple films before that. There was a Dracula film in 1920. It was made in Russia. Mm-hmm. In 21, there was an unlicensed Hungarian adaptation. And then in 1922...
Nosferatu.
The names were changed to protect the guilty, but it was so obviously Dracula that Stoker's widow sued and demanded that they destroy every copy of the film. Thankfully, one survived.
Okay.
Of course it does.
One survived, but they thought it was lost for decades.
And that film was found in a vault around the scattered husks of other films that it had drained dry
and
to
Hollywood.
survive. Hollywood just sucks everything dry.
Yep.
And then they remake it.
And then they remake it again. Yes.
But I mean, look at this list. This is
there's huge.
how many times
I don't know.
they've done the story of Dracula.
Now, here's the thing. And I know, Billy, this is your zone. You love these movies.
I love the original Universal monster movies. I don't necessarily love all the remakes. Sometimes there's good ones, sometimes there are bad ones, but I love the original, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man, all
The Mummy.
The Mummy.
Sorry, start channeling Queen.
I like the Mummy. We've discussed the Brendan Fraser one, and I like the original.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the original.
Now, when I went into this triumvirate of podcasts that we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks, my first thought was to just write them off as cheesy horror movies. But the cheesy horror movie genre came right about in like the late 40s, 50s, 60s. That's the B-movie stuff that we're used to.
That's
the
Night of the
remakes,
Living Dead.
The remakes, the stupid sequels, the Bride of the Son of Frankenstein. The Frankenstein's roommate,
Billy
things
the
like that.
Kid meets Dracula is a real movie.
Abbott and Costello meet.
No, actually, I was just going to bring that up. That's one of the best monster movies.
Yes.
Is it really?
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is a great, great, great movie.
Yes.
I'm going to have to watch it because I have not seen it since I was like 4.
Yeah,
Billy probably has it on DVD.
A lot
Probably.
of these things that we look at and think, because they're sequels, because we're thinking about the sequels that we're used to.
Yeah.
We think of them as being, they're going to be terrible. But no, these were franchise movies. They were trying to make good films.
Yeah.
And the Universal Dracula films, most of them were decent.
Mm-hmm. And I think, and Tanya and I were talking about this yesterday when we were watching Frankenstein, is that for me, the first thing I noticed was how these movies were very much the early days of cinema, so that it's definitely
a stage.
It's a stage. It's handled like a theater stage. Like you can see the players coming in and out from stage left, stage right, stage left, stage right, coming up middle. The blocking, the way that the camera is moved. You don't really see a lot of different angles. You're seeing the three-walled sets, and even with Frankenstein, which we'll talk about next week, it starts with a guy coming out through the curtain and addressing the audience as if they were starting a play. So I see that theme between the three movies we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks. But you had a point, though, Sherry.
Yeah.
I saw your hand come up.
2 points. One, at the time we're talking about, going to the movies was like going to the theater.
It was an event, yeah.
We have a gorgeous, gorgeous theater in Utica called the Stanley that started off as a movie house. And it is so ornate and so gorgeous. It's amazing. People got dressed up. This was a big deal to go to the cinema. And second, funny that you should mention that about especially Bela Lugosi's Dracula is because the reason he was chosen for this film is because he was doing it on the stage.
Oh, he was?
This was a stage play first, and he was Dracula.
So he helped adapt the stage play for the cinema. Billy, did you have something?
I did. I was just going to mention, she mentioned the theater in her town. That's very similar to Eastman Theater. Started out as a movie theater.
Okay.
That a while back, a year or two ago, I saw a silent movie classic called Safety Last with Harold Lloyd. It's most famous for the scene where he's hanging from the face of the clock.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's where that's from?
That's where that's from. And
All
I
right.
saw a screening of it there with the full orchestra playing the music for the movie, which is how they used to do silent movies at the Eastman Theater. They would have an orchestra playing the score.
Got it. Oh, that's cool.
Well, it's funny.
That's very cool.
While I was watching Dracula yesterday morning, it's like I was picking up on the fact that like a hand was coming up out of the coffin. There are spoilers. I'm sorry to tell you.
For a movie from 1931.
Yes. This movie is almost 100 years old at this point.
A hand coming up out of the coffin, and then the camera pans left, and then it comes back right, and Bela Lugosi's there, and it like the lights are just across his eye and everything else, and I'm just like, I can't. I was just like,
but that's the thing is, we're so used to modern 21st century special effects cinema. All right, well, we can't even call it cinema these days.
It's CGI.
It's CGI movie making. All right, it's spectacle. It's the overall visual that we're so used to in our modern era of cinema that we've lost track of where it started and what it looks like, and so we just chalk it up immediately as cheesy. But this was some serious storytelling going on here.
Absolutely.
You know, and Cher, you made the point. The play was adapted. The book was adapted to the play. The play was adapted to the movie. So you have this progression that, you know, the movie is almost a direct descendant of Bram Stoker's original works. And a descendant.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an evolution.
I didn't say it was the
No.
portrayal of his words, but it's a descendant of it. And, you know, so if you sit back for a second before you watch this movie, and I think all five of us here in the room will recommend you at least try to watch this movie at least once.
It's only 75 minutes.
Seriously, because this was original storytelling. All right, and movies were not meant to be 2.5, 3 hour, 4 hour spectacles as we get these days. You know, where they're always leaving you wanting more. This was a tight, compact story about a particular event. It has some minutia in it. And the acting may seem extreme, but it's a different way of portraying.
Stage acting.
It's stage acting. You have stars of stage and screen on
That's what I find very interesting about films from this time. In some ways, it's very intimate, like you were talking about, the shot of just across his eyes. It's let's pull in as close as possible. But in other ways, they're playing to the back row.
Yeah.
As if, because most of these people came from theater.
Right.
So they were used to, and everything was grand and big, and the gestures are
The gestures were
huge.
slow but huge.
So, and it's so interesting. There is nothing realistic about it.
No.
But there wasn't supposed to be. If you wanted realism, you lived your life. If
Yeah.
you wanted the special, the spectacular, you went to the movies.
Exactly. Billy, when was the first time you remember watching this particular movie? Because I know this has been your jam forever.
Strangely, I was a little kid when I was, and this was in the mid to late 70s. There was a movie theater down the street from where I lived called the Cornet Theater, and it just used to show old movies. And I saw Dracula there when I was maybe 11 or 12. They used to show Three Stooges some weeks. They used to show old monster movies. They used to show, and I used to go every Saturday whenever they were showing because I was always entertained by it. And that's where I saw Dracula.
So you saw it in a theater?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
I will admit, the first time I ever watched this movie in its entirety, the other day.
Mine was yesterday morning at 9 o'clock on my phone.
You know, that's the thing, is we've gotten so used to people talking about these movies and making references to these movies, and we've gotten used to the cheesy monster movies of the 50s, 60s, 70s. We're so used to slasher movies and sci-fi movies and action movies and stuff, and the references back and forth, that it's almost part of the consciousness that we just assumed we've seen this movie. Is what it feels like. And so I'm sitting there and watching. I'm like, I don't remember this part. I don't remember. Oh, it's because I've never actually watched the friggin' movie. That's why.
What I found interesting was I rewatched this movie a couple years ago. I had completely forgotten Jonathan Harker is not the one who goes to the castle.
It's
Renfrew.
Renfrew.
Who did not exist in the book. He was created for this movie. It was a brand new character. And how much is he in the... I mean, do you know about Renfrew? I know all about Renfrew. I know exactly who he is and what he did. And
was he a knockoff of Renfield? Or, I mean, because Renfield was in the play, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm mixing up the characters, I think.
Renfrew was like the estate lawyer or something that was...
But in the book, it's Jonathan Harker is the estate lawyer. And Renfield in the book was the crazy person he goes to see. So they kind of combined Jonathan Harker and Renfield into one character. He's the bug eater.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Now, it's funny because, like, watching it yesterday, and I'm, like, going through your list of stuff, and I'm seeing, like, A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and I see the name Mina Harker. And now it makes sense to me.
Yes.
Because I had never seen, like, the original Dracula or whatever to understand that.
Did you see the 1992 with Gary Oldman?
No.
Yes, I did. That was my introduction to Gary Oldman.
Really?
Yes.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
I know that's your favorite movie, but
it was my introduction.
And guess what I still haven't done? Watch that movie. To this day.
You're dead to me.
Still have... Oh, stop it.
No, because it's, like, not necessarily something that it, like, would appeal to me that I would want to go and watch. I was just like, oh, I guess I have to go watch some Dracula movies or whatever. I'm like, I was talking to our friend Sean on Friday night, and I'm like, can't I just go watch Van Helsing? I'm like, I get Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman all in one movie, and man, I got Hugh Jackman to look at. So
isn't that what your mother was saying earlier?
No, that's a totally different one.
Totally different one? Are we going to talk about that one next week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks, you're going to bust out your mother's story, because picking on your mom is just...
It's the Wolfman one.
It's a perk.
But I'm just like... I'm like, okay, so then when I was watching it yesterday morning, I'm like, oh, you know what? It's not necessarily horror. It's suspense.
Yes.
It's thrilling.
Yes.
It's ooh, what's going to come next? And you as the audience member is like, no, don't do it. No, stop. But they're like, whatever.
Dody.
Yes, those early films were very gothic and they created, it was much more of there was more romance, there was more, it wasn't like what we consider horror now.
Right, like horror is like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which
horror
is
today
horrific.
Is slasher.
That's slasher.
Yeah,
that I'm just
different.
like,
horror is just,
and we'll be talking about that in a coming podcast.
Okay.
We'll be talking about actual horror.
yeah, well, don't make me watch any of the actual.
You don't have
horror.
to watch.
I don't want to
anything.
watch.
We're going to have a guest-spert in to talk about
Good, because
it.
I don't want to have to watch. I'm like, I've seen some of that stuff, and I'm just like, no, I'm just.
Yeah, I'm not into horror movies because I'm tired of being disgusted. In essence,
even though one of my friends wants to take me to see The Nun, and I said no, not a chance. I don't like being scared.
You drag Sean to all of those other movies.
I know
you
he
can
really
let him
wants to drag
you
me to that. I'm like, no, and he goes, and he's not even a big fan of that. He goes, but he will pay to see me squirm in regards to that. No,
you'll spend 3/4 of the movie hiding behind his arm.
Yes,
I'm just making that prediction right now.
He's
willing to pay for that, though.
That's funny.
I know.
That's funny. So, okay.
Interesting bit of trivia?
Yes.
Quick trivia?
Please tell me trivia.
When the 1931 Dracula was being filmed, at the same time, a Spanish language version starring Carlos Vieires was simultaneously being filmed on the same sets.
On the same set?
On the same sets.
Timeshare.
They were filming 2 versions of Dracula on the same sets at the exact same moment.
Did they have a particular reason for that? Was to make it a broader global audience?
Yes.
Or? Okay, so they were doing that intentionally?
Universal was doing it, so one for English-speaking audience and one for Spanish-speaking, which I think is amazing. I love that.
When you consider
thinking.
it. Yeah, seriously, stuff like that wasn't considered back in 1931.
No.
So.
Wow.
Billy, it's just of the classic monster movies we're going to be talking about this month. Is this one of your favorites?
To be honest with you, no.
Okay.
I enjoy it because I enjoy all of them.
Right.
There's Bride of Frankenstein is one of my favorites.
Oh, that's such
We
a
talked
good
about that.
That's such a good movie.
The Abbott and Costello one, which I've mentioned already. Creature from the Black Lagoon isn't necessarily a great movie, but like it.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's so much fun.
And strangely enough, the Dracula, I don't want to say rip-off, spin-off, whatever, Love at First Bite with George Hamilton.
Nice.
Is ridiculous and funny.
Well, it's George Hamilton. What do you want? It's not like you're going to get Shakespearean
It took place during the disco era.
Yeah.
And that's where the song, I love the nightlife, I got the boogie, I'm the disco.
Oh, my God.
That's where that came from. And
now that's Cheese Factor.
Yeah, that's huge.
Cheese Factor.
So when you're a little kid and you want to laugh, but you want to like monsters, it works.
Yep.
My head goes to a couple of Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah.
There's 3 series movies of it's just Shaggy and Scooby and Scrappy. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite ones when I was little was the one where Shaggy gets turned into a werewolf by Dracula.
By Dracula.
By Dracula, yes.
Yes, because vampires create werewolves, I guess. I don't know.
They did like some sort of weird magical ritual thing.
And then Buffy spiked Edward, the end.
Oh my God, you should have a T-shirt that said that. But no, you mentioned Buffy. What I love, Buffy, it has its own vampire lore.
Right.
Has always had its own vampire lore, different from anybody else's.
Right.
But when they brought Dracula on, they kept all the regular
rules.
Dracula rules.
Uh-huh.
He didn't follow any of the other vampire rules.
Right. He was doing his own thing.
Yeah.
I just thought that she didn't actually kill him outright in that episode, did she? She got him a couple of times, but he kept coming back.
I'm standing right here.
Yes. He's trying to rematerialize. She's like, I'm standing right here. And then he disappears.
He comes back in the comics. Because apparently he's got like some sort of special powers that he got from something else.
What really I found interesting was that role of Dracula was supposed to be played by Freddie Prinze Jr.
Really?
They intended him to play it because they...
Oh, husband and wife.
Yeah. But he was busy and couldn't do it. That would have been awesome.
That would have been a good interaction. There's some marriage counseling going on there. That's funny.
Yeah.
The other Scooby-Doo movie that I like that has... It's not Dracula himself, but him and Scooby became PE teachers at this all-girls
monster high school or something. Like all-girls school.
Yeah.
They're all the monsters.
Yeah, and they had the daughter of the Wolfman, the daughter of Frankenstein, and the daughter of Dracula.
Didn't they have like a daughter of the Mummy too?
Yep, and a ghost.
Yeah.
She just wants her mummy.
Are you my mummy?
Are you my mummy? Yeah, that's one I love.
And at the very end, you get to see the actual characters themselves because they came to meet the teachers.
Think of the legacy of those Universal monsters: Dracula, Frankenstein's monster. Up to the Munsters was only on for 2 years, and it's still a show that
universally beloved.
Yeah,
pardon the pun.
Exactly, very good.
And that leads into a question that I usually ask when we're talking about topics like this: it was Dracula first before Frankenstein because they were made in the same year.
I want to say Dracula was first.
The earliest Frankenstein film was 1910. It was one of the first films ever created by Thomas Edison.
Oh, a Frankenstein film.
Yes, 15 minutes long, and you can get it and you can watch it online.
Wow.
It's 15 minutes long. It was Thomas Edison, and it was the very...
Is that a YouTube thing, or...?
I found it all over the internet
Probably
when I was doing
1, 2, 3
research.
Movies or Vimeo or
no,
anything else.
Everywhere. No, I'm talking like just I went like IMDb has a link. I mean, it's crazy. Right. It's all over the place. So Frankenstein, and also the story of Frankenstein is older than the story of Dracula.
All right. So we'll broaden the question out, and I ask this whenever there's a particular topic where I can do that. But the Dracula and Frankenstein 1-2 punch here for the 1931 the Universal movies. Without these two movies, does the horror genre go where it has been at this point, where it's evolved into, or does it just kind of slowly fade away into nothingness without these movies?
I think people like being scared.
Yeah.
So I think some version.
So something would have come along somewhere along the line. You're saying.
I think that the 1931 Dracula basically created the whole, even more than the book, created the concept of Dracula, of how we think about Dracula.
Okay.
and kind of cemented because as like you said in the beginning, vampire lore. There's so much different vampire lore, but what we think of, our go-to is Dracula.
Garlic crosses, river.
Crosses, wooden stakes, no reflection. These are the things that we think about.
And it came from this movie.
And it came from Dracula, whether from the movie or from the book. Dracula cemented our idea. I think we still would have horror. I mean, there was horror long before there was movies. There was Gothic stories. I mean, fairy tales. There's always been horror, and I think there always would have been. But where this is the most influential is on it basically supplanted almost all other ideas of vampires.
And that's the point we're going to leave you on at this point. I think that's it. So our recommendation to you, because we're doing shorter episodes the next couple of weeks, so we're not going to few of them out. So our recommendation is, this is the Halloween season. This is the perfect season for this. Take the time. Find these movies. You can rent them for cheap, or you can call up Billy and borrow them from his DVD collection. All right. But Tanya found them on
Vimeo, 123 Movies,
Google Play.
I rented it for $2.99 on Google Play once we got that to work.
This is going to be fun stuff for you guys, and so we highly recommend take the time, sit down, watch Bela Lugosi in action.
And I think you could probably borrow them from the library.
Yeah,
sure. That too.
I'm sure.
That's also an option. So take them in, and then share with us your thoughts of Dracula.
And which version do you like?
Yeah.
Which version do you
please
not
let
like?
us know.
Absolutely. Let us know what you think about your impressions of the Dracula lore and what movie is your favorite out there. And
you got a lot to pick from.
Yep. And just remember, vampires don't sparkle. We'll be right back.
But they do exist.
They do exist, and we'll be right back.
I'm going to go to break with comedian Dan Polidorus has something to say on this.
Like, the worst novelization I ever saw was a book of Bram Stoker's Dracula. So not the novel, Bram Stoker's Dracula. It was a book based on the 1993 Keanu Reeves smash hit. Based on the novel from the 1800s. How far gone intellectually do you have to be where that's the book you've chosen to read? Yeah, no, I'm reading Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah, that's pretty good. What do you mean, Gothic lit? I have no idea what you're talking about right now. Oh, no, yeah, you're thinking of Dracula the novel. This is Dracula the novel, the movie, the book. It's totally different, so... I mean, it's not as good as what I just finished reading. I just finished reading Street Fighter 2, the arcade game, the movie, the novel. It's pretty good. Think you could maybe just read this paper for me? I wrote it for school. It's called Garbage Pail Kids, the Collector Trading Cards, the movie, the book, the senior thesis.
The senior thesis.
Nice.
That was great.
I'm waiting to see where the music's going.
I'm watching a monkey trying to sneak up behind you with her Dracula claws.
And then
She's
do
gonna
I get bitten? No, she just cuddles.
So she's a cute little vampire.
She is a doll. I love this
She
girl
is the
so
cuddle
much.
monster.
Oh, this gets me in the mood for the Halloween.
Yeah, it gets me in the mood to look
Oh,
over my
yeah.
shoulder every time I turn the corner into a room.
That's why I don't like going to the house when it's dark and things like that. I go flying in. I don't like being scared. That's spooky.
Aw, poor Tanya.
Yes.
We still love you, though. So we got some events coming up. We're going to talk about events right now.
We are?
We are, because Halloween weekend is going to be very, very busy for us.
Very busy.
Big time. The shenanigans.
The shenanigans
will start
are
about
to
11:30
happen.
Thursday morning.
We are coming back. FC3, we've been a little quiet the past few months, but guess what? Coming back with a vengeance.
Back.
Mighty Monkey Corporation night at the Nightmare Manor with special guest, our favorite shenanigator, Michael Koske. Tickets are $20 at the door. Donations of children's books or school supplies accepted to walk through with directors of Mighty Monkey Corporation and Michael Koske of The Walking Dead. Proceeds of the evening going to MMC education programs. Please note, no discounts on coupons will apply to this event, and that is going to be October 25th, starting at 7 p.m. at the Nightmare Manor, Southtown Plaza, 3333 West Henrietta Road, Rochester, New York, 146 423. That's Halloween weekend for you.
And now I believe this is the last year of Nightmare Manor.
I believe I've heard that rumor too. So make sure you come out. If you've always wanted to try it, this is your opportunity to do it.
And he can't wait to come see fans of Walking Dead, fans of whatever. He's
now his
excited.
usual wingman, our buddy Greg
is not available.
Is not Greg.
French.
I was about to call him Finch for some reason, and I just knew inherently that was the wrong name. But Greg French will not be able to make it because he has another obligation he's doing that weekend.
Right.
So we're not having full shenanigans going on.
Partial shenanigans, and he's pulling in whatever board directors are willing to shenanigate with him.
Well, I'm in.
I was just going to say,
that's
going to be a problem.
Considering I don't like to be scared, I'm not going to be at Nightmare Manor.
Okay. Neither do I. I don't like doing that stuff, but I love being a part of it.
Yes, I'll do it to somebody
else. I love
else.
scaring people, but I don't. I don't like to be.
I can't do haunted houses for a very specific reason.
Claustrophobic?
No.
No, that's you.
Strobe lights.
Oh,
they make me nauseous.
Yeah.
And I've never been in a haunted house that doesn't have strobe lights somewhere.
Now, we got a couple other things going on because, like I said,
that's a busy weekend.
That's a busy weekend
Michael
for the FC3 crew.
Michael early that afternoon. And
that's on Thursday,
this is
October 25th.
I'm looking forward to this one. Tasting and trivia at Knox Craft Cocktails and Comfort Foods. Again, with Michael Koske, we're going to be keeping him busy. That's how we keep him out of trouble. Tickets are $35 and include a drink voucher, light food tastings, and an evening of trivia.
Prizes to be announced later.
Yes, October 26th from 7 to 11. Limited number of tickets will be available, so make sure you get in touch with us.
Check out our Facebook page.
Check our Facebook page to get your hands on that, and that will be at our usual living room. Knox Craft Cocktails and Comfort Food, 302 North Goodman Street, E101, Rochester, New York.
And
that is in the Village Gate Mall.
This is specifically a ticketed event.
Yes.
So in order to attend, you need to have bought a ticket.
Are we going to have tickets at the door?
No.
Probably not.
Everything is pre-sale only, and we'll have that information up on our Facebook page.
There you go.
A limit of 50 people. It's a small gathering.
Okay. So on the 25th, we'll be at Nightmare Manor. At the 26th, we'll be at Knox. And then October's 27th and 28th, to round out Halloween weekend for us, is the Flower City Mini Con.
Woohoo!
Exhibitors, vendors, and artists. Tables for the weekends are only $75. Contact Brian at fc3roc.org if you are interested. We will be at the Grease Ridge Center Mall in the theater wing like we always are for these mini cons. So as you can tell, we are going to be coming out full steam ahead for Halloween weekend 2018.
And I do believe that we are going to have like a little mini trick-or-treating at the vendors for kids for
the kids parade and stuff like that.
Kids parade and come in
crap.
costume.
I'm going to wind up getting another cat from Lollipop Farm trick-or-treating. Can I have a black cat?
Yeah.
For
here
some
we have
reason,
12.
like black cats don't get.
They will not adopt out black cats within. Most places are within a week or two before and after
and
Halloween.
that's because I honestly am a big black cat fan.
Oh,
Me
I
too.
would love a little black kitten.
Mine died last December, and I have wanted another one, but
you know, Petco, the Grasp at Petco had adoptions yesterday at Greece.
Yeah. But I've got 4. I had 3 momentarily last week, but I've got 4 cats. Don't know if I want to go to that extra crazy route of having 5.
The whole new level of 5.
Meow.
There's something about that. 4, you're like, okay. 5, it's like, okay, now I've just stepped over a line.
Well, from 3
right now, Sherry only has to herd 4 of us.
I was questioning the 3 to 4 last year. And now it's...
That's just a part of things.
Yeah.
Just a part of life.
You know, it's funny you say that, Tanya. As part of my job and my
Your normal
research, part of my job with Mighty Monkey and my research, there is a cat herders day next month.
So we're gonna.
I'm expecting gifts.
Okay.
Let
us know what day that is.
Podcast Day today?
Yes, today is International Podcast Day.
So we're recording on
Podcast Day. So is
that
at 9:30, or is this the day that it
9:30.
drops? 9:30.
For over 2 centuries, it's been
National Podcast Day. Celebrate us now.
So I think that's all the events that we have going on.
Yes. So let me ask you, dear listener, do you want to be part of the FC3 Mighty Monkey and Mighty Monkey Corporation experience? There are a few ways of doing that. The first way to do it is to become a sponsor.
Please.
We have sponsorship levels of all kinds and are even willing to create custom sponsorship packets. Please contact us at sponsorships@fc3roc.org. The next way to do it is by supporting us on Patreon. Please check us out at www.patreon.com/FC3ROC. All membership levels will include access to the Patreon-only blog, plus tons of great perks at all levels. Shout out to a couple of our amazing patrons, Jen Bevan and James Irish. Thank you guys for supporting us and sticking with us through the years, all 200 of them that we've been podcasting. Want to help others find the show? Please leave us a review wherever you listen to us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Podbean, YouTube, Stitcher.
Really?
And if you're especially lucky, you can be here in studio with us while we record. Is there a place you find your podcast and you can't find FC3 Monkey Business? Please let us know. And please follow us on Twitter at FC3MB Podcast. If you do, say hi. We love it when you say hi. Hello. Good evening.
Never mind.
I want to suck your blood. No, he never says that, though. It's like Scotty beam me up. It's a line that is just attributed to him, but he never actually says it. Anyway, question of the week. Billy.
Yes.
What movie can you watch over and over again and never get bored with it?
I was thinking of this going through some of my favorite movies in my head, but there's one that, because I just watched it again recently for the first time in a while, and it's still, to me, 1975 film, Tommy, the adaptation of The Who's classic rock opera.
Nice.
And Ken Russell it's a visual masterpiece, and Margaret was nominated for an Oscar, and it's music from start to finish, tells the story of the deaf, dumb, and blind kid that plays a mean pinball. And I love it. And it holds
great.
up. It's just a visual masterpiece and full of great music.
Is it me, or is it almost like Tommy and Jesus Christ Superstar are almost the same movie?
Well, Tommy is an allegory for Jesus.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
You know, that was always the impression I got. The religious rock operas of the 70s.
Yeah, and it's not really thickly veiled in some places.
No.
It really isn't. So I was just curious.
Nope, but that's my choice.
How about you, Cher?
We mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. If you haven't seen this film, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are two minor characters in Hamlet who are almost never in the play. They're very minor characters. They're so minor that there is nothing that differentiates the characters.
Right.
They're completely interchangeable. Just one's called Rosencrantz and one's called Guildenstern. Every night the actors could change and it wouldn't make any difference.
Right.
Because they're really that minor. They're plot devices. But Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead is the story of Hamlet from their point of view.
And it's one of Gary Oldman's first movies, isn't it?
One of Gary Oldman's first. It's Gary Oldman and Tim Roth.
Oh, wow.
And Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh, God.
Really?
Yes.
I'm still watching this now.
It's an amazing film. Because they're almost never in the play, they have no idea what's going on at any point. They're confused all the time. And because their characters are so interchangeable, it's a running thing through the entire movie that they're not sure which one is Rosencrantz and which one is Guildenstern.
And they say that to each other.
Yes. They're trying to figure it out because ever since they were called for, nothing has made sense in their worlds. And there are parts that are Hamlet. The scenes that they're actually in the play, that they take those directly from, and every now and then you see them watching a scene. And in the play of Hamlet, there's the players, the traveling acting troupe. Richard Dreyfuss, his character is just called the player, and he is the head of this acting troupe. And he's trying to tell them what's going on, and they're not getting it. It's an amazing film. It's got an amazing cast. It's got the costuming. Oh my God! It's a Ren Fair seamstress's wet dream.
Nice.
Oh my God! The costumes are beautiful. It's funny. It's based on a play by Tom Stoppard.
Okay.
And it's just fantastic. I never get bored with it. I laugh every time.
And to quote Gary Oldman, and you'd be absolutely right.
And you'd be absolutely right.
That was a GIF animated GIF you sent me once, and it's still on my phone somewhere.
Yeah, that and I'm no good. I'm no good in lead. I'm only good in support.
How about you, Ton?
I have to pick one.
You have to, yeah, I know. Seriously, it's difficult.
I was putting that note on. I have to watch that.
Yes, please watch it.
I want to say probably one of them's Armageddon.
Okay. Really?
Never seen it.
Armageddon with Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck.
Willis, it's just like every so often, like I was in the kitchen the other day, like within the last week, and
I suddenly got Aerosmith in the back of my head.
Randy,
I don't want to close my eyes.
Never seen it.
Randy's on the couch, and he goes, "Name the movie," and I just turned and looked. I'm like, Armageddon, and it's just like he picked it up at the beginning where the head of NASA is talking to Bruce Willis about training a group of astronauts to drill this meteorite, and he's like, "You stole my plans," type thing, and now you can't get whatever to work.
Right.
So that's one. Anytime it's on, if you're flipping through the channels, that's one that we will always stop and watch. Definitely, I would have to go Top Gun.
Really?
Yes.
Never seen it.
Tanya feels the need.
The need for speed.
Never seen it.
No, she just feels the need for that volleyball scene. I'm going to just subtly and classily go over here. And hi, Monk.
Hi.
How about you, darling?
I wasn't done.
You
Too
can go ahead
bad.
and
It's my turn.
just quietly fantasize in the corner. We're on a time limit today.
First
Fine.
Avengers movie.
The first Avengers movie. Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely. And
It's
then
what got me
shawarma.
into MCU.
That's true.
Did you know that Robert Downey Jr. hid treats all
Yes.
So
over
he was always
stage?
snacking.
And he was always snacking, so when he handed it off to Mark Ruffalo, he's like,
That was all improv.
yeah.
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 And the people who were like the set managers were
They had
always
no-
trying to collect them all to keep
Yeah.
them off the
Couldn't
set,
find
but he
it.
couldn't. He was
They
hiding
couldn't find him.
No.
He couldn't find them all. All right, so we've got
That
got
Thor-
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are
not
dead.
Thor's
We've got Top Gun and Armageddon. We've got Tommy. We've got
First Avengers.
the first Avengers movie, and I have to add 2 to the pile because there's just these are dead, and we've done a not a book club on one of them, Princess Bride.
Of course.
Anytime that
wish.
movie's on, seriously, I'm going to sit and watch. And then the other one, no matter where in the movie it is, as soon as I see it, I have to sit down and watch the rest of it. Is The Fifth Element.
That was another one on my list.
For whatever reason,
Multipass.
I just can't get enough of that damn movie.
Multipus.
And I hate to admit it. Overboard.
Goldie Hawn,
Yes, I love that movie.
Kurt Russell.
I could not watch the remake of it.
No, I won't even try. I won't even
remake
try.
was horrible.
But the way you said doesn't matter where it is in the movie.
Yeah.
When
It's like
it
you
comes
can
on
pick it up and-
I have to watch it. I have to stop and watch it.
Favorite guilty pleasure movie then? Yeah, yours is Overboard. I want to hear what one.
Guilty pleasure movie.
Yeah,
That you love.
here's mine: Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh wow,
Bill and
Pleasure
Ted's
movie.
Excellent Adventure.
you are in my head there because that was the movie popping into my head as you start speaking.
Oh, favorite guilty pleasure.
Now I have to come up with a second
Better
one.
than it has
the one
any
you're
right to be.
embarrassed to say.
The one I'm embarrassed
I'm not
to
embarrassed
say.
about Bill and
no,
Ted.
well, like Adventures in Babysitting gets the laugh that it rightly deserves.
Cool World.
Okay,
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah, and
Gabrielle
then, you know
Byrne.
what? You know what? The movie is horrible, and I admit it freely. That but it's got Kim Basinger in it. It's got a young Brad Pitt.
Right.
But it's the damn trailer. The trailer is what sold that movie, and I cannot watch that movie without thinking the trailer was so friggin' cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was so awesome, and so my love for the movie stems from the fact that the trailer was so friggin' awesome. So yeah, Cool World. I
And it's
admitted it.
Gabrielle Byrne. I love Gabrielle.
Gabrielle Byrne's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you? Guilty pleasure movie over there, little one.
See,
have
both of your favorite
no
ones
idea.
would be guilty pleasures for me because I really, really hate Tom Cruise.
Hey, Mama. Is there? Do you ever notice any movie that I'm like, I like this movie. I really shouldn't be watching it.
No, you're not. You don't feel guilty about any of the movies you watch
Good for you.
incessantly.
Nope.
Okay, she is going to be 20 years old in November, and I constantly walk in and she's watching Anastasia. She's watching Mulan.
I like the music.
and
Great.
She loves.
Oh, Mulan's my favorite of the Disney
Oh my
movies.
God.
Oh, it's a great one.
I love the
love that
second
one.
one too. The second one's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Fine. I like the music of it.
All right,
I don't know
so,
if I truly would have like a guilty pleasure movie. I just like sit down and enjoy movies for whatever.
See, your guilty pleasure lies within pages, not on screens.
Shh. Yes.
Yes. She reads trashy romance novels.
And there's a problem with that?
I've got lots of guilty pleasures. There's some on my phone currently.
You want to compare?
Billy, we're going to run for our life at this point.
Okay.
And so for Tanya and for Billy and for Sherry and for Monk and for myself, this has been Monkey Business. Yes, oh my gosh, she's scrolling through the titles. Heaving bosoms and alabaster skin. This has been Monkey Business, brought to you by the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Mini Con. Coming at you at the end of October, Halloween weekend 2018. Love us on Facebook, like us on Patreon, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us anywhere you want to go, and we will lead you to where the entertainment is. All y'all have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
And it's been entertaining.